Hello and welcome to another episode. In this episode, we're going to see how we can create an Ionic-Angular project and set up the architecture in order to be clean and very separate architecture for the continuation of the project. At this moment, I have created a brand new Ionic-Angular project and right from the command line, so nothing has happened so far. So, as we can see here, we have all the files of the project. Now, first move that we're going to make is generate the proper files and folders for this project. Now, it is very useful to generate a pages folder that is going to store all the pages that are going to exist in our project. Second, we're going to generate another folder for the components of this project right here, and lastly we're going to create a services folder for the services that might exist in our project. Right here we have the home page that this was generated automatically with the creation of the new project. Now let's move this page into the pages folder. Okay, refactor. Okay, this is done, and now we have to check the up routing module. So everything about the routing is set up correctly, and we can move on and see how we can set up the languages of the project with a proper and safe way. By the term languages, we mean that as the projects grow in size, we cannot write the languages inside the HTML content, and we need to extract the language into JSON files and use them from there. In order to accomplish that, we do the following. First of all, we need to install some libraries and plugins in order to have a translation and the languages in our project. So let's pull up the terminal and let's install some necessary plugins. So as we can see, we need to install from the ngx translate library the core and the HTTP loader. So we hit enter to install the necessary libraries. The libraries have installed, so right here in the app module TypeScript file, we can start the implementation of the languages. Actually, before we start typing code, we can navigate to the assets folder, and we can generate a new folder that will contain our JSON files with all the language tags and texts. So we generate the folder I18N, and right here we can generate like this. So this is a proper setup. We're gonna copy this and we're gonna place it as el.json for the Greek language. So these are our language files that will contain all the tags that we're going to use later on in our project. Don't worry, we're going to see all about the tags and the texts later in this episode. Our JSON files are properly set up. Let's now navigate to the app module and let's continue with the implementation. Right here, before the ng module, we need to start typing these commands. So we're going to export a function. So export function that will help us with a translation. So HTTP loader factory, like this. Going to receive the HTTP client, of course. So HTTP, we can name it. It's going to be the HTTP client, like this, and the framework does the import that will help us. So this function is going to return a new translate HTTP loader like this, but not with the HTTP by itself, but the first parameter is going to be the HTTP, and then the second parameter, it's going to be the path to the I18N folder. So like this, assets, and then the I18N. As the framework suggests. So it is like this, and then finally it's going to be the type of the files that we're going to use as our translation files. So it's going to be .json files, like this. So this part is ready. In the imports specifically, after, let's say, the app routing module, we need to do a proper setup for the translation. So let's here write the translate module dot for root like this, and inside the parentheses we need to open brackets, and inside here we're gonna say the loader. It's gonna be provide. It's gonna be, of course, the translate loader like this from the core ngx translate core like this. Afterwards, you use the use factory as the function that properly generated right above. So it's gonna be the HTTP loader factory like this, and the tip's gonna be the HTTP client as we set up already. So HTTP client. Now this setup right here concludes the initialization for the languages that we're going to make. So lastly, we're going to set up the initial language of the project as the project starts. We can set it up with many different ways, but let's see a simple way to initialize the language of the project. So we're going to navigate to the app component TypeScript file. Now, of course, we need the translate service. So it's going to be, let's say, translate, public translate, and it's going to be the translate service like this from, of course, the ngx translate core library. So lastly, inside the constructor right here, we're going to say that this.translate set the default language here as the English language, so EN. And lastly, this.translate.use the English, so it's gonna be right here. Now this concludes the initialization and the setup for the languages. Now let's quickly see how we can use the languages inside our project. For example, let's navigate to the home page, and first of all, let's say that we have right here a tag called title, and let's say test project. So as you can see, this is a tag, the title is a tag, and the test project is the text that is associated with this tag. So title, and let's define another one, so subtitle like this. So this is a test project like this. Okay, so we have defined two tags and two texts. So let's grab these and navigate back to the home page, and let's say we can drop them right here. In order to use them, first of all, we need to import to the home module the translate module in order to use the translation. So translate module right here. Now in the home page, we write it like this. So let's say we have a title. So inside a simple tags, we write the tag that we're going to use. So simply title like this. Be careful with the typing, because if it is not the correct one, then the text is not going to present, but the tag is going to be presented, and of course we do not want that. So after the tag, we can simply place a vertical line like this, and after that we write the pipe, the translate pipe like this. So this concludes the setup. For the testing purpose, let's also write it like this. So we have it right here. So again, inside here we have the tags. So let's say subtitle, as we already defined, a vertical line, and here we have the pipe. So the translate pipe, in order these to be presented. So of course we can delete those as we do not need them anymore. And let's see how this can be presented in the web. So let's serve this project. So as you can see right here, we have served the project as we have so far, and this is the test title. As you can remember, with the title tag, and this is the subtitle. So we have properly set up the language for this project, and of course you can set up any way that you like in order to complete your project. So lastly, let's continue and complete this proper initialization of the project by having the components. So let's see how we can properly set up a components module, and let's create a simple test module and let's use it in the home page. And let's navigate back to the project. As you can see, I've made this simple change and we have printed the title right here. Let's continue and let's stop the serving of the project. A really clean and clever way to use components in the entire application is to use, first of all, create a module that we're going to import all the necessary components and export them everywhere in the application. So let's create a TypeScript file, of course, that's gonna be named as it is a convention, so component master module, and it's gonna be a TypeScript file. Inside this module, first of all, we need to say that it is an ng module, like this. And of course, after that, we have to say that the export class, we're going to name it as, might have to guess it, so export class, a component master module, like this. So what are we going to do after that? First of all, we need the declarations of the components. Afterwards, we need any imports that we're going to use inside all of these components that we're going to create. And lastly, we need the exports in order to export the generated components everywhere in the application. So first of all, we need the imports array, like this. After this, we need the declarations array, and let's quickly switch this and make this first and this is second, and we need a comma, of course, the imports, and lastly it's the exports array. So we have this setup right here. Our next move is going to create a new component, a simple component that we're going to use in, let's say, the home page. So let's generate a component. So it's gonna be a simple component. So I'm going to generate component inside the components folder, and let's say it test first, like this. So let's generate the component. It was generated and it is located right here. This is a very simple component. Let's declare it into the array like this. So it's gonna be the test first component, like this. And of course, we need to export it in order to be used inside our application. So like this. Now, lastly, we're going to have to import some necessary libraries and modules for these components. So first of all, we need the Ionic module, of course. Then we need the common module, like this. Then let's say we need, of course, the translate module for any translations and languages that are going to be used inside our components. And lastly, we can also import the forms module that perhaps we're going to use inside our components. So, and there you have it. This is the component module, the component master module that we're going to use in order to import and use all of our components inside our pages or any other components. And let's now quickly see how we can use the component that we just created. Of course, our first move is going to be, let's navigate to the home module and let's import right here the component master module. And also let's import this module into the app module right here. So it's the component master module, like this. Let's close this. We do not need it anymore. And the app routing and the app component. And now let's quickly navigate to the home page. And let's say right here, let's insert and use our component. So in order to do that, of course, we need the selector. So it's gonna be app test first, like this framework suggests. So app test first, and this is our, and let's add a comment. This is our first test component, like this. So if again we serve, not generate, but let's serve our project so far, and let's see the website that we are building. So as we can see right here, right above the test project title is a test first works, and this is a meaning that our component is displayed properly, and as we can see the code right here, it is right here. This label is right here. This label is generated automatically when we create a new component. So this concludes this episode. I hope that you liked it and gained some useful information from it.